The pacing contrast between the first two acts and the final act is not just abrupt, but also very disruptive to narrative coherence. All the buildup is released. It's very effective for some narrative threads, but not others. The narrative threads that suffered most are between Emperor Carino, the great houses, and the final mounting conflict. The motives are not clear, and therefore the stakes are not clear. Now we can deduce a little bit of the motives at play here between Emperor Carino, the great houses, and Paul's rebellion, but not much. We know there's a tenuous alliance across the empire, but the movie didn't give us much to chew on. The pacing at the end served to escalate tension, but it undid the established tension of the barons summoning the great houses to intimidate or attack the emperor. To be fair, the emperor does have enough reason to be upset with Baron Harkonnen for failing to regain control of Arrakis. But imagine the emperor learns this same man has summoned a massive fleet against him too. As it stands, there was nearly no reaction or gravitas to the great house's arrival anyway. This is definitely a lost opportunity. It would have been better to have summoned the great houses earlier in the movie, have them arrive and orbit around Arrakis while the Emperor is there, and then draw impact from the Emperor's reaction to their surprise arrival. Furthermore, if the great houses are against Emperor Carino taking over Arrakis, presumably because of the concentration of power over a vital resource, then they should be in favor of Paul stopping the Emperor. But if they're not in favor of Paul as the Emperor, the movie should have explained why, or at least set up the choice the houses have to make so it's more clear to the audience. This is a great example of how pace and flow can impact narrative coherence. In screen time, about 20 or 30 minutes goes by from the time the great houses are summoned, the Emperor is challenged, the Emperor arrives on Arrakis, and the great houses must decide on Paul as the Emperor. All that buildup, all that concentration, but the payoff is filtered way down because of screen time. Overall, the character and group motivation development for this movie missed the mark, especially beyond Arrakis. This is largely due to the pacing of the movie spending too much screen time on building narrative threads and releasing them without enough screen time to satisfy the payoff. Specifically, I would rather have had more focus on the great houses and the Emperor dynamic to give the final conflicts and decisions more weight instead of a prolonged ascension for Feyd-Rautha Harkonnen. Also, we could have trimmed the deep dive into the relationship with Chani and the Fremen society. I like those scenes. The narrative threads are necessary as well. I like the world building, characterization, emotional attachment, and threat of escalation. But we also need a coherent finish with the Emperor at the climax. A bit more balance might have been best here.